Hello and welcome to Traditional Stitches FlossTube video number 15. I'm Janice Spencer, the owner of Traditional Stitches, and my regular guest with me today is Rose Heck. Hi, Rose.
Hi, Janice.
Rose is the leader of our current stitch along, the Esther Blackwood sampler, which we're going to talk about today, as well as what we're stitching on, some upcoming plans, and including a little bit about the Nashville Needlework Market.
Sounds good.
Good. So we talked last right before Christmas. So did you have a good holiday?
It was very busy, Janice. It was good, and it's nice to be able to get back to my quiet house again. But how about you?
Very quiet holidays. So, but that was okay. It was really cold here over the holidays, so that kind of kept activities to a minimum. But I did perform my marching orders, as you can see behind me, though, that I hung my samplers in this room over the holidays. And so these two here are showing the reflection of what I actually see outside of my sewing room window, which is the snowy Rocky Mountains. But these two are sister samplers, and they both have that antique wavy glass on them. So I'm just going to show you a magic trick. Haha, and now you can see the samplers.
Yeah.
But it's darker, but that's okay. We'll live with it.
That's actually okay.
Good, good. Alrighty, so the exciting news in the Esther Blackwood stitch along this week was that somebody's already finished.
I know. I'm not sure whether to be happy or be, wishing I could do my own, but
wow,
good for her.
Yeah, incredible. So did you also see that they took her finished photo and made it the group photo for the Our Sampler Years group on Facebook?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
no,
so that's cool.
That. I'll have to look.
Yeah, so congratulations, Lynn. Your sampler is stunning.
Yes, I agree.
So how did your progress go?
Well, I finished the first month, and oh man, it was hard to put it away because I really I love Lakeside linen, and this piece was just a minute, it's stuck here. It was so nice to stitch. So that's my progress thus so far.
Awesome.
I'm sure everybody has seen it. And you've done some too, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah. So I was talking with some friends a couple of weeks ago, and I said to them, maybe I shouldn't have, that I didn't have a COVID story, but now I have a COVID story. And now this is my COVID sampler. So you can see that I've raced ahead.
Yes.
And that's because Cole's Notes version. My girlfriend and I went away for a few days to her cabin in BC. And our first full day there, we both started feeling symptomatic. So we just quarantined ourselves in her cabin with her big German Shepherd dog, who was awesome company, with a view of the lake, and had our COVID there. So it could have been way worse. We didn't share it with anybody, but I would say that the saddest part about that was we went to her cabin to visit with her mom, who also has a cabin a few doors down, and we didn't get to have the quality visit that we wanted to with Gail. So that was the saddest part, because she's an older lady. All of us are fully vaxxed and boosted, but we still, it was not a chance worth taking. So anyways, this is the only project that I took with me for the weekend for stitching. So we had to extend our holiday by a couple of days. And so I got a couple extra days stitching done. So I'm well into month 2.
Well, there has to be a silver lining to every cloud.
Yeah. Well, and not that I'm much of a rule follower anyways, as you'll see when I show my Linfoot sampler, but oh well, that's okay.
Oh well, that's okay. You're right.
Yeah. So then we're ready to embark in the second part of our Esther Blackwood stitch along. Do you have your layout photo there, Rose?
So there is, sorry, there is two. So it has the alphabet, the two bouquets, the strawberry border, and then this, I think there's 6 colors, this undulating border that is right there is month 2.
Excellent.
Okay.
Great. Well,
No,
go ahead.
No, actually go ahead, because I think you're leading up to the next thing.
Okay, so while Lisa and I were away, we were looking ahead and looking at the undulating pink and blue border, and kind of talked about how we would strategize getting into that. And you also had a question through the Facebook group about that. So let's show them what it is that we mean, and then tell me what you think you would do with it.
Okay, let me just bring this a little closer without showing the chart. I think I need to look at the chart. Okay, so this border has about 6 colors. 2, 3.
So we're talking about the pink border with the blue posts, kind of.
Where am I at here? This right there. Yep. This one there. So it starts about at number 70 on the chart. And without reading the comment from my friend, she was basically asking me, how would you stitch this? Would you load up a bunch of needles and park them and go through? Would you start and stop? So basically ending it in the back and starting it again. Or would you maybe work across and weave on the back of it and move along? So none of those ideas are wrong. They're all right. They're all good. It's you as a stitcher, what you're comfortable with. Personally, I'm probably going to pick the color that there is the most of, and I will work across. And I will have, on the back side, I will have the trailing thread. Those will be covered by another color. And anything that isn't covered, I will weave through the back. She was concerned that it might be getting too bulky by doing that. Mm. And I don't think it will. I don't think it would be any different than starting and stopping. In fact, I think that might bulk it up more than weaving through the back side to the next spot. I think that's how I'm going to do it. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thought is to do it in the way that's going to make for the least number of counting errors. Okay. So that I can start with a color and make a good amount of progress with that thread that's in my needle before I want to bring in the next color. So we can't really show you the chart, but I would I'd start on either the left or the right side, doesn't matter to me, but I would start with the symbol that is the @ sign. So yes, like an email address, the @ sign. So that's I would start with that and work the first flower and then go vertically, or I'm looking on the right hand side of the chart. So I would do those first 2 lower stitches on the bottom right and then count vertically and do the 6 stitches of that color above it and then go down, because there's no, like there's vertically open space, but horizontally there's no open space. So I think that my odds of getting the counting right first would be the best to do that. And then there's enough of that color to lay a foundation to tack your other colors in behind your work and travel that way.
I agree. That's exactly how I was going to do it. So I don't know about anybody else, but having 6 floss threads on needles and parking them, my fingers will end up getting stitched in it too. It just doesn't work for me. I can't seem to do it. So I maybe have 1 I can put aside, but not 6. So I will work on the one main one. And like you said, go vertically and horizontally and go through. where I'm comfortable with, I might put in only one length of floss and then start with the second one, so that if I do make an error, it's easier to go back than if I've gone all the way across.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, well, it doesn't surprise me that you and I are thinking exactly the same way. It's always good to talk it out with somebody.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I mean, I this is kind of what I said to my gal, and I'm hoping that she watches this too. But for anybody else that has those questions, you know, if you've got an alternative, or if you don't like our idea, just, you know, put some notes at the bottom of this video and let us know. Comment, and we'll see how many people have different ideas.
Yeah. So it's about enjoying the process and having a finished product. It's not necessarily about following the rules. Yeah.
There's not really no rules. You know, it's whatever you're comfortable with that doesn't make your head explode.
Okay. And then the other thing that's come up in the last couple of days about the Esther Blackwood sampler is, so the model that is photographed on the cover, and actually the version that I'm stitching, is on 40 count hand dyed linen using soie d'Alger silk thread. And so then off of the model, the conversions to DMC and 100/3 were done to those colors. And there's been some comments on the Facebook group that 2 of the blues in the 100/3 set of threads are too similar, not contrasting enough. So we've done a little bit of talking about that this morning, and we're just going to show this a little bit. So I'm going to go to the centerfold. And so the blues that are under consideration are the 2 colors that are in this star, and also the colors that are in the Morning Glory motifs that are scattered throughout the sampler. So there's one there and there. And then there's a little bit of the blues worked together in some of the other motifs in the sampler as well.
Correct.
So we kind of looked at our threads, because you're using 100/3. So you've got the 100/3 pack, and show us what you have for colors.
Okay, so there's your lighter one, and the number is 652. Sorry. And this is the darker one, and it's 139.
Okay, so you hold those up, and then I'm going to show off my soie d'Alger just so that people can see what it is that we're talking about. So the model was stitched using these 2 blues, the darker one and the lighter one. So you can see that in the spools that Rose is holding up, that there's not the same beautiful amount of contrast in those spools. We've seen a couple of suggestions for alternate 100/3 blues to use, keeping the dark one and just substituting out a different color for the one that's supposed to be the lighter shade. And so, Rose, you're going to hold up a postie and talk about those colors a bit.
Okay, those are the 3 colors, and then the last one I think was one I possibly looked at also. And I've also written the names of them. So anything from a teal to a denim, but they're all a lighter contrast to that darker, what I'll call navy. And any of these should give you a good color contrast for those. Okay.
Yeah. So I sent Nicola an email because we always want her eagle eye when it comes to color, because that just really is a skill that she's got. And as of filming, we hadn't heard back, but when we do hear back, we will publish it for sure in the Facebook group. So the idea is that if the 100/3 blue shading is a concern to you, that you would maybe take a screenshot of that postie that Rose was holding up, and then either look in your stash for a color that you like to use for the lighter blue, or let us know and we can put in an order for Nicola's recommended substitution for that blue, and we'll take care of it that way.
Correct. And I trust Nicola's choices, and there may not be, maybe at the time she didn't have a good substitute. And because she had the model that was done with soie d'Alger, Maybe it wasn't as apparent at how lack of contrast it was.
Yeah.
And it's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal.
No.
I haven't gone far enough to not be able to pull out that contrasting color. So
Good. But it also brought up the conversation with us this morning about how resourceful stitchers are in our group and how willing they are to share.
right.
You know, everybody right away had, here's a choice, this is what I'm gonna do. And I love this Facebook group for that kind of thing.
Yeah, because 3 of these numbers were not mine. I just went on there and I wrote it down, all of them, and then I looked on a chart online just to see if there was any others. I found one more that possibly, and none of them will be wrong. It's just what you want.
Yeah. Hi, I'm just sneaking in for a quick update. While I was editing the video, I've had phone calls with both Nicola and with Lamora, who is at Access Commodities, about our blue 100/3 challenge. And in the end, Lamora has very generously offered to replace the blue for everybody at no charge. So that just blows my mind, but that's awesome. And we really appreciate that. So how we're going to deal with that is the colors that are suggested for substitutions is, first of all, color 277. And the color that is next close to that is color 693. So if you have those and you want to use them, then that's great. But if you do decide that you want us to replace your spool, then please reach out to the shop directly by email only, and we'll make arrangements for that. Now, keep in mind that Lamora offering to replace the silk is great, but if we ship those to you at no charge, that's going to cost my shop between $8 and $12 per package, because the spools are so thick that they have to go as parcel mail. We can't just put them into a letter mail envelope. So we're hoping that you'll reach out to us, and maybe there's a few other things that you need to order that we can help to spread out that postage cost on, just to be a little bit you know, make it just not so much of a hit. So email us at janice@traditionalstitches.com only if you've ordered the 100/3 kit for Esther Blackwood from us and you would like us to replace your blue spool for your sampler. And it's the lighter color of blue that we would be replacing only. Thanks. So now we're going to jump into part 2 this month, and then we will be in touch at the end of February with talking about part 3.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, and then just a reminder that the Esther Blackwood sampler is an exclusive to Traditional Stitches. Here she is in all her glory. And she is limited edition. We have the final print run in the shop. We do have good stock of charts and supplies at this time, so it's never too late to join us. And as you can see, just a couple of days of catch up and you'll be ready to go. And the link for more information is in the box below. So the other stitch along that we've got going on is also from Hands Across the Sea Samplers, and it is the Eliza Martha Linfoot sampler. So that's Eliza Martha Linfoot. And in this case, you and I are using the same supplies, the SWA 100/3 and the 45 count legacy linen. So let's see what you got.
Okay. Just fold this. Okay.
She is such a pretty sampler.
She really is. It's nice too that there isn't, the words aren't over 1. I don't object to over 1 letters, but it's always nice when you don't have it. So I think that's what's next. I'd have to go back online to check.
Yeah,
I think it's,
so the next part is this crown and the 2 cherubs, and then the purple words and
Okay.
the sawtooth border. So just
Okay.
the section up there. So not too stitching intensive for this month.
no, not at all. I want to say that they're Pepto-Bismol cherubs, but not quite. Not quite. They're pretty funky, so I'm looking forward to doing them.
Yeah. So I'll show you mine, and this is, Janice doesn't follow the rules. So I don't have all of my borders done, but I did put in the crown because I was having a stitching night with girlfriends one night, and that just seemed to be an easy thing to do while Zooming and keeping up a conversation. So I did do that. But I've also put in a little bit of words and the first color in the sawtooth border.
Oh, okay.
And that's because I stitched this urn first and then happily moved on to this urn and assumed it was exactly the same, and it wasn't. So I did some customizing in this urn. So then I felt I needed to put in a few other counting off points
Okay.
just to make sure that they were in properly, and I'll count off those instead of off of my customized urn.
Okay. So this is Eliza according to Janice.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
Yep. So anyways, it's fun, and it's actually going by pretty quickly, I think. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying
This
it.
is month 5, I think, on it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's another really pretty one. They're all pretty. I mean, you know, we sound a little bit like a broken record, but we wouldn't stitch on them if they weren't pretty. So they all are pretty.
Yeah. And aren't we lucky to have this
Yeah, I know.
to do?
I know.
Yeah. Alrighty. So then what else? So you've been busy keeping up with your stitch alongs, and what else you've been stitching?
I have a stitch along with Jeannette Douglas, and I think a lot of you are aware of it. So it's mini floral motif sampler. Here it is. I don't have a project bag for this one, so I had to snafu one from my granddaughter. So this is what's the finished. And
Yeah.
this sweet little thing is actually offered free by Jeannette. And I think I've got 40 count vintage country mocha, and I'm just pulling colors from my stash. I'm not doing anything, and it's really hard to see, but that's
lovely.
The first one. So yeah, it is really pretty. It's relaxing. I think I'm actually stitching this one in hand, so that's why I'm wondering if it is 36. I don't remember. It is something, and I really enjoy it. It's just a little bit different than what I normally do. And one that I have to put aside for about a week because of all of these stitch alongs, but I'm getting close to the end. So yeah, she's a big one.
Oh,
So
goodness sakes.
that's, oh, there we go. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's the bottom. So this, I don't have a lot of border on her. And a little lesson I've learned from her, and I think you've mentioned it before, is always measure the warp and the weft thread before starting to stitch to make sure that it is true to the count that you've bought. So my 36 count linen is actually 34, 35 count.
Oh.
And so the 34 count is in my length. So therefore I've got 1 3/4 inch borders on the top and bottom, which isn't the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Most framers can work with that. So, so I'm not panicking.
Right. Well, if in a big project though, that couldn't have worked out nearly so well. So that's great.
And that's the thing, because it works out to, I think, 25 inches in length. So I mean, if it was just a small, you wouldn't notice that much type of thing. It would be like minuscule. But with something like this, it adds up.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on to whatever you have next to show us, I did want to go back to that Jeannette Douglas
Okay.
design that you're stitching. So Jeannette has offered that as a free download off of her website as her gift to all of us. So I do have the link in the box below, and I welcome you to download it and send Jeannette your thanks. And people are having a lot of fun with it.
And it really is. And all of these floral motifs, from what I understand, are from past retreats, classes, different things over the last couple of years. And a lot of them have been canceled. So she's actually combined them into this sweet sampler type of thing. So
yeah,
it's lovely. I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeannette.
Yes, thank you, Jeannette.
What else have you got to show us?
Okay, so I've shown you that. I do have one, but it's from a different company, so I haven't started it yet, so I won't show you that.
You'll just tease us about it and then share on social media so that everybody.
Exactly. Like I said, I haven't started it. And then there's another one I'm working on, but it's a small. I've been finding in the morning, I tend to pick up small pieces to do, whether they're in hand or something I can work on for an hour, and it's my coffee and cross stitch. And January has been all about marking samplers, just small little girls marking samplers. So I'm working on my third one, and it might be done on the weekend. It might not be. I don't know. Just depends. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's kind of it. So stitch along central. That's what it feels like.
Good for you for keeping up. That's awesome.
Sorry. Somebody walking.
Oh, goodness sakes, using your sidewalk, hey?
Yeah, which we don't have a sidewalk, so
Oh.
it's people across, but yeah, she has to voice her opinion.
So the only other thing on our list, and then I can give my voice a break because it's still not exactly normal. And what I'm finding is I'm in like day 14 or 15 after my first symptoms showed up, is that my energy levels just are not coming back the same way. So we're going to make this a short one. But the last thing that I did want to talk about is the upcoming Nashville Needlework Market. So it's going to be held the first weekend of March 2022 in south of Nashville in Tennessee in Franklin, and it's a wholesale trade only show. And we have started to see a couple of sneak previews for it. And so we've built a special page on our website to show off everything that we'll be bringing home from Nashville. And I'll link that below as well. We do recommend that people place advance orders for the Nashville market things because we can only bring so much back. And a lot of it is limited edition and sells out very, very quickly. So we strongly recommend that you get your advance orders in. And we will be seeing many, many more previews in the next couple of weeks. So have a look at our page and make a note to check back every few days for editions. So like as an example, the one thing that we have seen is Heart in Hand is offering a ceramic red bowl that you stitch a design for the top of it for it. And those are limited edition advance orders only. So we've already had to get our shop order in for that. And they'll be coming home with us from Nashville. But you definitely don't want to miss out on those kinds of things. So have a look. The other cat that I'm about to let out of the bag for the Nashville Needlework Market is, remember last year for our 20th anniversary celebrations, we did the exclusive Blackbird Designs What Remains Is Love sampler. Actually, if you bear with me, I'm just going to reach because I have one of the models is right here. So this was the one that Kathleen stitched that is on 36 count Weeks Dye Works linen with the Amy Mitten fibers to dye for hand dyed silk thread.
Mhm.
And then you finished this one too, right?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. There we go.
Ta-da.
It's right there.
All right. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And you used Amy's silks on yours as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So sometimes when a designer does a shop exclusive, it's exclusive to the shop forever, like Ann Morrison was until it sold out, and like Esther Blackwood is, it's exclusive to us for as long as we've got stock, and then it's not going to be available. But with other designer exclusives, it's exclusive to a shop for agreed upon period, and then the designer can decide if they're going to re-release it. So in our most recent conversations with Alma of Blackbird Designs, she did tell us that this chart is going to come out at Nashville this year. So we do have that listed on our website, along with all of the thread and linen and the floss rings. We still have some of those left, so you can certainly go ahead and pre-order that for shipment in March. And as with everything that we do, at the time that you place your order with our online catalog, we collect your payment information for our files and for your order, but we don't actually charge for any product until it's ready to be shipped. So even though you're going to order it now and provide your payment information now, you're not going to be charged for it until after we get back from Nashville and we start getting orders out the door. Yeah, so I'm really, really excited to see all of the amazing new stuff that's going to come out. I kind of feel like the designers have been sitting on things for the last couple of months, and now all of a sudden we're going to have huge, amazing offerings. And the other thing you'll find on our website link is a link to see all of the exhibitors that are participating in the Nashville market. And it's a big long list this year, so that's going to be really exciting.
Good. Yes.
Yeah. And you've worked for us before over Nashville periods, so you know there's pressure and excitement. And
yeah, you saw this little sigh. It's I remember the pressure that mounts, and you want to clone yourself and you know, make two of yourself, because there's so much work involved, but it's so rewarding. So.
And then you also got first fondling rights when the charts came in, because you had to price them. And
it's like focus, Rose. You know, it's always
it's tempting to do one for me, the rest for the shop. One for me, yeah.
I try not to do that, but every once in a while something did come home with me. So.
Yeah. All right. So I think that was all that was on my list.
Yeah. That, and we talked about, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay. I just had to figure out, I don't have it written down, so I had to keep it in my head. But yeah, I think we covered it.
Okay, good. All right. Well, we will plan on seeing you at the end of February and talk about part 3 for the Esther Blackwood sampler. And by then, we're going to know almost all of the Nashville previews. So there'll be lots of things to talk about from that perspective as well.
Exactly.
So, yeah. You're going to have to keep like a top 10 list, and we'll have to compare.
Okay, sounds good. I will do that.
Okay. All right. Well, take care, Rose.
You too, Janice.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.